Hello wheel nuts, and welcome to my South Western Railway standard class journey. Now before we get into the video, I want to talk to you guys about this Maybach that I bought in High Wycombe in the previous video. Because there are so many things on this car that I didn't even notice when I first bought it. I've shown you that it has loads of stuff that can open. It's got the boot and the bonnet as you saw in the previous video. But there's also a lot of other stuff as well. For example, if I turn it upwards, it has side steps that can pop out. And that's far from the end. Because there's also this little switch on the underside here, and if I flick it to the middle, it turns the headlights on. It's also got tail lights. And it's got these flashing lights inside the grille. I'm not quite sure what they're for. But the best bit is on the inside, on the ceiling. It has a night sky. A light up night sky, and it changes colours. And as if that's not enough, if I flick the switch to the third position, you'll notice it also has suspension, and it makes noises. I mean, yeah, those aren't Maybach-ish noises, so let's be honest. In fact, I'm honestly convinced that this car makes more noise than an actual Maybach GLS. But either way, that has got to be one of my best buys. How many buys, I hear you ask? Well, to give you an idea, this is part of my collection. There's a whole load more in here. And there's some of my less valuable stuff in these two boxes here. However, I really do not have time to go into full details of my collection because we've got to get underway. So, let's hop into Wendy. And I'll see you at the station. Yes, we are going from Erridge this time around. It's a little station on the Oxted line that runs between London Bridge and Uckfield. And the station is also a terminus for the historic Spa Valley Railway that runs between here and Tunbridge Wells West. So we've got about 20 minutes, I think, before our train, so I'll see you when that comes.
On the Victoria, Gatwick Airport, Brighton and services to the South Coast, please change here. Can I ask passengers when leaving the train to take all the belongings with them and keep them with them at all times while on the station. This is
This train is the Southern service, London Direct.
Our next point of call is Clapham Junction. Okay, so we are now at Clapham Junction, where our next point of call is Winchester.
station is Basingstoke. This part of the train is for Basingstoke, Winchester, Southampton Airport Parkway, Southampton Central, Brockenhurst, New Milton, Christchurch,
Not bad.
Oakstown, the Bosco. This is Basingstoke. This train is for Weymouth and Poole. The next station is Winchester.
Aston Martin Signet. Yeah, I know about as much about it as you do. Well, that's our visit to Winchester done and dusted. Absolutely beautiful city. As you can see, the weather has kind of gone against us again. So we're going to have to make our way back to Waterloo. Well, not Waterloo, Clapham Junction, sorry. And we're going to go there via Basingstoke. And to get to Basingstoke, I thought we might try our hand at something a little different.
So this will be the same sort of train that we will take to Yeovil. So let's see what it's like.
Lovely. Well, that was a very relaxing journey. I mean, in the Sprinter, the legroom wasn't as good as it was in the 444-0, but the seats were super comfortable for standard class standards, if you see what I mean. Anyway, our next point of call is East Croydon, so I'll see you on the other side of the station.
This train has 10 carriages. Some sections are short.
Yeah, should we speak Saturday, do you think? To see what's happening.
This is Clapham Junction. This train is
Platform 6 for the 16, 22, Sutherland, 32 upstairs.
Calling out Oxford. First week, Edenbridge.
Buongiorno, Wendy. Well, there we are. Another excellent journey was had. South Western Railway operates some very nice trains. The 444 series had comfortable seating with some excellent legroom. And Winchester was a beautiful city. So much amazing architecture around. It's a shame I couldn't stay there as long as I wanted to, but there was a storm forecast in early afternoon, so I decided to just get out of there while I still had the chance. The cross-country Super Voyagers were also fantastically lovely. Very comfortable journey, if a little bit short but sweet, as they say. And the South Western Diesel Sprinters didn't quite have as much legroom as the Zeros, but the seating were a little bit more comfortable actually. So, kind of evens the balance out, I'd say. It'll be interesting to see how the first class compares on that as well. So South Western Railway and both the East Midlands Railway as well have also done very well as far as standard class is concerned. So the first class does have a lot to live up to, it has to be said. But only time will tell. But I'll be going first class to Yeovil in a couple of weeks' time, and then I'll be going to Sheffield first class with the MR. But until then, I hope you enjoyed watching, and have a good drive.